Hello, and welcome to Grapevine-Colleyville Independent School District, where we are redefining education because your future matters today. In GCISD, we call this our why statement, and it guides everything that we do in this district. It is derived from and works in alignment with our strategic plan that we call LEAD 2021, which stands for Leading Excellence and Action Driven. My name is Megan Overman, and I am the Director of Communications here in GCISD. It is my privilege to spend a few minutes with you in this video to share about the importance this district places on communications and provide a few tips on how you can be a key player in this district-wide initiative. There are exciting things happening across the district, and we need everyone to go out and tell our story in the community. Whether you are on a campus as a teacher, paraprofessional, or support role, or you have joined our teams in facilities, nutrition, transportation, extended care services, or administration, everyone who works for GCISD joins in the responsibility of spreading the good news about our schools and district. In fact, the stakeholders of this district thought communications was so important that they devoted an entire strategy to effective communication practices in our LEAD 2021 strategic plan. The strategy calls for all employees to be effective communicators so that we can build positive relationships with students, coworkers, and stakeholders and engage our community to continue building support for our district and create opportunities for our students. I'm sure many of you already possess the skills necessary to be effective communicators, so we will briefly cover a few specifics to help you hone your skills in this introductory communications training. Parents, community members, students, and media are going to talk about GCISD, and we want them talking about us. But the question is, what are they going to say? It's all of our jobs to decide what story we're telling. Do we want people talking about the STAR test or the state of public education, or do we want them talking about exciting initiatives happening on all of our campuses? That's not a difficult question to answer, but it brings up another question. Just how do we do that? There is a department that is dedicated to sharing the story of GCISD. The Communication Services Department is made up of 7 employees. 4 of these are dedicated to the main communications functions for the district. These roles include 1 director, 2 communication coordinators, and a multimedia communications specialist. The district print shop and the receptionist at the administration building are also part of our communications team. We serve a variety of stakeholders ranging from students to elected officials, and we wear many hats. Our primary role is to tell the story of GCISD through district publicity, including website, social media, videos, photography, and news media. We serve as strategic advisors to leaders and campuses, plan convocation, and conduct media training. We also handle all Public Information Act and media requests, crisis communication, and supervise the new program, GCISD Champions.
Hi, my name is Kristen Snively, and I'm one of the communication coordinators here in Grapevine-Colleyville ISD. I'm here today to talk to you about effective communications, and the first thing we're going to talk about is target audience. Regardless of your role in the district, every employee has the potential to interact with a variety of individuals on a daily basis, including parents, students, coworkers, supervisors, and community members. While the message is always the same, the way in which you deliver the message may differ. The first element to consider for any communication, big or small, written or oral, is your audience. The most effective communicators always consider with whom they are speaking and tailor their message or needs to those of their audience. When I say tailor, I simply mean communicate with people the way that they like to hear information and are most likely to receive your intended message, whether it's through email, phone call, face-to-face, or another form of communication. Another element in tailoring is using the correct language for your audience. Even though you may be talking about a campus initiative, you would use different language if you were speaking with a coworker as opposed to a parent or a community member. For example, using big words or education jargon may be most appropriate in a professional learning workshop with coworkers or at an education seminar because you are around people who speak that language on a daily basis. But the same language may come across as somewhat patronizing or even arrogant during a conference with a student or a parent, at a community event, or even when you're talking to your next door neighbor. See the difference? Most non-educators don't usually speak our language every day and should not be expected to know all of our acronyms and terms, such as pedagogy, standards-based report card, PLP, AVID, PLC, PBL, and all the other terms that we use on a daily basis. Knowing your audience and tailoring your message delivery makes the difference in whether or not your message is received in the way that you intended. These are all important things to keep in mind before we look at the content of our messages. We've already shared with you our why statement, redefining education because your future matters today. There's also another element that is crucial to our why statement, and those are our culture drivers. These three words, expect, relate, and innovate, are at the core of everything that we do, regardless of our role or responsibility. When people think about GCISD and the work that we're doing, we want them to use these words to describe our district. So how do we get them to do that? By working these words into our daily messaging. This leads us to crafting a message. The first key to creating a solid message is to create what we call a headline. This is just like a headline you would see in a newspaper. It's short and it outlines your key point. But beyond what you might see in the news, a truly effective headline is also memorable and makes some sort of a claim. When you're reading a news article, whether in a local newspaper or on a national news media website, a headline is meant to grab your attention and make you want to read the rest of the article. It's the same thing when we're talking to our various audiences. For example, a headline I might use is Grapevine Colleyville ISD is using innovative programs to redefine education for our students. Now that we have our headline, we have to back it up with some evidence. There are several kinds of evidence that you can use to back up your headline. The three that are used most often are anecdotes, statistics, and when appropriate, quotes. You wouldn't need to use all three forms of evidence in every message you deliver, but there are certain times when one form is more appropriate than others. An anecdote or personal story is a great way to bring your message to life. Here with an example is GCISD champion Ryan Mitchell, a teacher at Grapevine Elementary.
In 4th grade at Grapevine Elementary, we are doing a year-long PBL or project-based learning that culminates in a real-life museum at the end of the school year. The students work on each creating both written and digital projects that demonstrate their learning. These items are then transformed into an actual interactive living museum. They take ownership not only in their learning, but also in the running of the museum. They have various jobs such as museum curator, the tour guide. They even run their own gift shop. Having our students do a year-long PBL helps them to not only to remember the information, but to go deeper into their learning. And this is really important as they move on to 5th grade.
The next form of evidence is to give a statistic. Using the same headline, GCISD champion Robert Alamia from Facility Services is going to show us how using a different form of evidence can add a new dimension to our headline.
Grapevine Colleyville Independent School District, we develop and innovate new innovation programs throughout the district. Our mission in our district is to redefine education because our kids' futures matters today. We're standing here on the new GCISD training portable in our Facility Service Department. We're the first district in the Metroplex that we have a training complex so we can train the new and current employees in our district. So basically what we're trying to do, we're trying to set off standards in our district and trying to everybody with a current background with custodial or new custodian, we're trying to get them on the same standards.
The final form of evidence is using a quote. This quote needs to be from a well-known, respected source who has something to contribute to the conversation. Here is GCISD champion Carla Harrison-Ducrow from Homebound Services with an example.
Grapevine Colleyville ISD is using innovative programs to redefine education for students. As a former student told me that is now in college, she said, I just want to thank GCISD for the teachers, administration, and all the programs that are available for really preparing me for college. I am well on my way, and that was pretty exciting. Then I had a family that told me that they had researched and heard all these great things about the Grapevine Colleyville area. Once they got into the school district and saw all the many things that it had to offer, they now realize that it is not only a premier district, but one that builds strong students and families.
So far, we've covered knowing your target audience, using our culture drivers, and how to craft a well-rounded message. The last element we're going to cover is one that often goes overlooked, nonverbal communication. Your body language, tone of voice, and rate of speed are all things that can either support or derail your message. Let's bring back GCISD champions Carla Harrison-Ducrow and Ryan Mitchell to demonstrate how simple body language adjustments can completely change a message.
Hey!
Hey, how are you? Good.
So what do you think about all these new programs they got at GCISD?
Yeah, there are a lot of new programs, but it's for the betterment of the students.
Oh.
So I'm just trying to check my email here.
All right. Okay. Awesome.
All right, see you.
All right, bye. Hey, how are you
Hey,
doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. So, hey, what do you think about all these new programs they've got here at GCISD?
Well, there are a lot of new programs, but it is for the betterment of our students.
I know nonverbal communication may seem like a very elementary topic, but it's amazing the impact it can have on your message.
We hope that you have enjoyed your brief introduction to communications training. As I said earlier, we need everyone out there telling our story. With that being said, please do not hesitate to contact your Communication Services Department if you should have any questions. We are here to serve you. Hopefully after watching this video, you'll walk away with some ideas of how you can communicate all the wonderful things happening in GCISD and how we are redefining education because your future matters today. Welcome to the Grapevine Colleyville ISD family.
Thank you.